Good morning, maker friends. Happy New Year. I hope y'all had a fantastic holiday season. I know I did, but y'all, I'm ready to kick off 2022. I'm ready to get my crafting back in gear. I'm ready to do new things, and I'm so excited that y'all are following along with me today here at a Maker's Studio. For those of you who may not know me, my name is Kerri, and I've got a YouTube channel called Mama Dares DIY. If you love to do super fun and easy DIYs with step-by-step instructions, you're going to definitely want to head on over there to my YouTube channel and check that out. Y'all, but today I'm taking over the Maker Studio Facebook page because we're going to be playing around with some of my new favorite medium, and that is the Glacier Acrylic Resin that Amy has created for us. Y'all, let me grab it really quick so you can see it. It is so pretty. I love the bottles. Amy really thinks of everything for us, doesn't she? Y'all look, these bottles are so pretty. You can get the Glacier acrylic resin in 2 different sizes, but y'all, there's so many wonderful and fun things that you can do with this resin. So that's enough talking, y'all. Let's hop on the workspace and let's get started. Okay, so here's our workspace, y'all. I've got my parts A and B of my Glacier acrylic resin. I've got my silicone cups here. I've got some mica powders. I've got some white, bronze, pearl, some azure, and also some gold. And we've also got our gorgeous geode molds. These are so much fun, and you do get 3 in your set. I'm also going to be using some of my favorite things in the whole wide world, and that is sand from my local beach here in Panama City Beach, and also some seashells. And I do like to keep some rubbing alcohol on hand while I'm working with the resin, just so I can clean up any spills or anything that might happen, because y'all, I am such a messy crafter. So let's go ahead and put our gloves on. You want to make sure you do use gloves when you're working with your resin. And I've gone ahead and mixed up some of my resin off camera because it takes about 3 minutes for this to mix up. And the way you want to mix it up is you want to mix half of each part, part A and part B, into each silicone cup, and you want to slowly stir. You don't want to whip it like you're whipping a cake batter or something like that. You want to gently stir your resin. And I'm going to move these out of the way. After I mix both of these together into one of my little silicone cups, I actually like to take the entire thing and pour it back over into the other cup, because y'all, that helps it to be a little bit easier to clean up. If you don't pour the chemical concoction back into this other cup, then this other cup won't be hard. But if you'll pour it back into it, then both of your cups will set up hard. And when you get ready to clean it up, you just pop it out. So that's just a little pro tip there for you, something I've kind of learned along the way. Isn't that pretty? I just love the shininess of the resin. Okay, so I'm going to take one of my little round molds here, and I mixed up 20 mLs of each one. Part A and part B. I'm not going to use the entire thing in my mold because I've got one already done for us, and I'm going to use the rest of it on that. So this first coat that I'm putting on, I just want this to be really thin. I want it just to be thin enough to cover the bottom. And I'm going to give this maybe an hour or 2 to set up. And once that has fully set up, I'm going to mix up some more and I'm going to put another layer on it. Just want to coat the entire bottom first. I'm not sure if the camera can pick up, but I can see where I've gone. Now, when your resin is drying, it's super important that you make sure that it is on a flat surface, because if it's not on a flat surface, then guess what? It's going to show. The fun thing about working with the resin is that you can do any color combination under the sun. I mean, whatever makes you happy, experiment and play around with it. And just see what you might like. Okay, so I've got the entire mold covered. And it's going to set up. I'm just going to kind of tilt it to make sure that I get everything covered. And this is going to set up for at least an hour, 2 hours if you want to. You can set it up longer, but I do kind of feel like that's the sweet spot, so you can go ahead and put that next layer on. So for the next layer, we're going to mix up our resin just like we did before. And this time you can add in some color. It would be really pretty to add in some of the azure. I think that would be super pretty because we want this to kind of look like water. And I'll show you what I did ahead of time. So for the second one, I put a little bit more resin into my mold. And then after it was poured, I took some of my sand and I dropped it down into that resin while it was wet. Now you can put it into the first layer of resin like we just did, but one thing that I've learned when I've done this in the past, if you do that, then your sand, because it's heavier, it's going to sink all the way to the bottom. So if you do that first coat of the clear, it's going to sort of encapsulate that sand and it's going to look like it's suspended in there. So it just kind of gives it a little bit more of a dimensional look versus having your sand sink all the way to the bottom. So I did this one earlier today and it is just a little bit, it's almost dry. It's not set up for the full 8 hours, but we're just going to go ahead and go with it. So I'm going to unmold it so you can see it, and y'all, it's so pretty. I didn't put quite as much blue or the azure that I wanted to because I really thought I would have time to do a third layer and I would put a little bit more blue to give it some more depth, but I did not. I ran out of time. That's one thing when you're working with your resin, you've got to make sure that you let it set up 8 hours. Isn't that pretty? So you can see the sand is just encapsulated into this. And you can also add in, like I said, some of the white if you wanted to go in and do some white resin. If you want to make it look like waves, I think that would be really pretty. But let me show you what we are going to do with this. I'm going to take this and I'm going to take some of my resin and we're going to use our resin like glue. I'm going to drop some of this resin on the edge and that's what we're going to stick our seashells to. Sometimes seashells are, because of the shape, it can be really difficult to try to find something to glue them on with. And resin is the perfect thing. Isn't that pretty? So I'll just go all the way around the edge here. Don't want to use that one just yet. And I'm the person that really loves to pick up the broken seashells. Broken seashells are one of my favorite things. So let's stick this little guy here. We're just going to keep going all the way around. But you kind of get the idea of what it's going to look like. Now, one thing that also would have been super pretty is to gold leaf your edge before you put your seashells on. I've actually got one finished that I did ahead of time so that you could see what it would look like finished. And that one I did gold leaf the edge. And if you have never played around with gold leaf, y'all, that is something you've got to make your resolution for 2022. You have to play with gold leaf this year. It is so much fun. But isn't it funny how you can turn this normal everyday geode mold into something that is totally different and unexpected by putting those seashells around it? So when you look at your crafting supplies, just kind of look at it in a different light. Say, what can I do with that? Look at this shell. Isn't that pretty? And the resin, again, does need to set up for at least 8 hours. Y'all, I got so excited about my project, I forgot to ask you where you're joining us from. Also, are you watching us live or are you catching it on a replay? Let's see, there's too many options. I just love this project, y'all. What do you think? Isn't that a pretty coaster? Would one of your friends that live at the beach or that just loves beach themed stuff, would they not love to get this as a gift? Such a unique and fun idea. Okay, y'all, and here's the one that I made earlier. It's all dried, and this is what I was talking about. This is what I used: the bronze and the pearl and the gold. And see how pretty those edges look when they're gold leafed? This turned out so pretty. I just love the way it looks. I think the natural color of the seashells with the bronze is really pretty. But y'all, look at this one. I'm not going to pick this up because it is not dry, but can you imagine how beautiful this is going to be after this dries and I go back in and I put that gold leaf on the edge of this one. I'm also going to go back in and gold leaf the inside like I did the bronze one. Y'all, what do you think about these projects? Do you love them? Aren't they fun? Have you played around with Amy's Glacier Resin yet? If you have not, you should totally do that because y'all, you are just going to open up a whole new world of crafting. Let me know what you think about this down in the comments below. Also, don't forget to let me know, did you watch us live today or are you watching us on a replay? I am so excited for 2022, y'all. Here, let's turn it around so we can see the coaster with our brand new Happy New Year coffee mug that we made earlier for Maker Studio. Y'all, look how cute that is. Oh my goodness. Don't you love this coaster? I think it turned out absolutely adorable, and it gives you something a little bit unexpected to go with your geode coaster set. Don't forget to let me know, are you watching this live or are you catching us on a replay? I've got to run for now, y'all. Until next time, happy DIY, y'all.